Peace, and welcome to World War Wrestling. We're back at it again. Today is a super show. Just because it's a super show does not mean it's going to be super long. But today is a super show. What do I mean by that? We got a triple threat tonight. This is unheard of. We've never done this in World War Wrestling history. We may never do this again. Because we're only doing this because I had no way of scheduling this any other type of way. It just did not fit the schedule, guys. I'm sorry. But we got three shows tonight. Ring of Honor versus the Friday Night Delight, Smackdown and Rampage for those that don't go clubbing. And probably got some kids at home that they gotta take care of. Let's get it. Come on now. You gotta be a responsible adult so you watch professional wrestling. How else do you buy the merch? You gotta be like a well established guy with a family to be a professional wrestling fan, let's be honest. They make it seem like we're all slack jawed inbreds, but come on now. That can't be all of us. And if you are, I'm not judging you. Keep watching. Remember, I'm not a heel. I'm not a babyface. I'm just a guy, man. I'm just a guy. How do you guys want to do this? Do you want to go forwards, backwards, or backwards, forwards, tippy, tippy, whoopee? How do you want to get this done? Because there's a lot to compare. I got numbers, though. So, what I don't know is if this is going to be a type of 2-on-1 triple threat or if this is just an every man for himself triple threat. Because I'm not sure if Rampage really stacks up against Ring of Honor or SmackDown. The Ring of Honor card was stacked. It was stacked. It was 12, 12 segments that I counted. And I might have missed something. I might have overlooked something. SmackDown had about 8 segments that I counted. Rampage had 4 that I counted, but I feel like I missed a lot on Rampage because I watched it, but I didn't really watch it. So Rampage automatically lost because I only had 4 segments. It doesn't even compare. But if SmackDown doesn't have Rampage in this, SmackDown gets washed, bro. So I am going to do Rampage and SmackDown to see if Ring of Honor either needs to go up a tier, down a tier. I don't know, but let's get into this. It's already been 3 minutes. Ring of Honor starts off with a Dalton capsule. Hold on a second. Dalton Castle and Johnny TV promo where Dalton Castle is about to bash Johnny's head in with a trash can with witnesses and a camera, and he lies about it. Dalton Castle is he's unhinged throughout this entire episode. The man said he wanted to win an Emmy, and he was not lying at all when he said that. He meant it thoroughly. He wants to win an Emmy. What is this? Kevin and Logan have a segment. They talk for a bit. It doesn't even compare to Dalton Castle and Johnny TV whatsoever. Logan Paul does not have a real personality. He doesn't. Top Flight versus Private Party. This was actually wrestling, for Rampage. Rampage actually wrestles. This was a really good match. This is something that you just want to see again all year long. There's not a lot of tag teams. There's not a lot of singles wrestlers. You want to see them wrestle time and time again. I can give you Christian Cage and Edge off the top of my head. and that was like a dig. So I don't even think that was a top. I think that was like quite the middle, because it's hard to think of teams or people that you want to see wrestle back and forth. We're gonna get to one team, Lashley and Final Testament. The Lashley Prophets or Lashley Prophets. I don't know how you want to describe it or say it. Versus the Final Testament. I want to see them wrestle the entire year. I want to see one team get a belt, and then the other team comes back and like, nah, son, we ain't letting that. We ain't done. We ain't done. We ain't there yet. Uh, and I don't know that Dalton Castle and Johnny TV. Maybe if there was some physical contact, they might have got it. But Rampage is actually going to pick up the point there. So I don't know. Maybe Rampage is going to go in it for itself. Spanish Announce Project versus some local team. And the crazy thing is that the Spanish Announce Project, like, legit almost lost. They were putting forth a really good effort, and they still almost freaking lost. So I don't know what you do about that. I don't know what you say when, even when they're trying to build you up, you're still struggling to, like, get there. I feel like for Angelico to have like true authenticity and to not just be viewed as like a South African guy who was like literally directly linked to the apartheid just by the proxy of being a white South African, to him being a cool, laid back. That's not me, man. Like a lot of white guys try to do, but they don't do anything to actually end the system of oppression that we live in. But we'll move forward. It's okay. It's okay. I understand why they do that. Everyone's got to survive. I'm going to skip to the middle. I'm going to just do Big Bill, Ricky Starks, The Dark Order. Maybe we'll swing back around and give this another fair comparison. If I was going to strictly compare just promo for promo, Dalton Castle and Kevin and Austin coming in to interrupt, I would still have to give it to ROH. Rampage only got it because they actually wrestled. We might swing around for Rampage, though, once we get through Smackdown, because the Austin versus Owens match is directly connected to that segment, too. Owens won, which you have to predict because he's in the feud. Big Bill and Ricky Starks versus the Dark Order. I don't even remember this match taking place. But I do remember the Spanish Announce Project versus a local tag team match. I don't know. It's hard to compare a tag team match to a singles match. And it's hard to compare a tag team match to a tag team match that you don't remember. But I at least remember the SAP versus local tag team match. And honestly, I feel like Serpentico could probably take on Austin Theory. Austin Theory hasn't really taken his lumps, and Serpentico has been in there with everybody, even if he's gotten his tail kicked. Serpentico's been in there with everybody. I don't know. I just feel like the Dark Order at this point is superfluous. I love seeing Big Bill and Ricky Starks together. They're a very happy couple. But I don't know, man. I don't know. This is a really hard one because I really like Kevin Owens, but Logan Paul just kind of ruined this entire thing, he really kind of dragged that down. It's good seeing Kevin Owens get a victory, but Logan Paul is just so fake. It's sociopathic. It's disturbing in a way to kind of watch him be doing this, you know. And I'm happy for him. It's not like in a hater type of way. It's just that it's kind of like it's weird. Like it's cool, you know. Like, but in a Fred Durst on, I think Here Comes the Pain, the video game, you know, type of way. I don't know. I just wouldn't be that. I just wouldn't be that proud and that boastful if I won by getting punched in the face. It seems like the opposite of what your brother does. In fact, your brother might be confused. You know, Jake Paul is probably like, I thought you had to knock the other guy out to win. I thought that's how it worked. And Logan's like, nah, man, it's not how it works anymore. You get knocked out, and then you win. It's real, I swear. Like, I'm glad like this opened the show to just kind of get it out of the way. But Jesus, man, like it was just everything from there moves a lot smoother. I don't know who to give like the point to. I'm gonna come back. Oh man, I can't come back to it. They all kind of equally sucked in their own way. So we're gonna give the two. If there's a tiebreaker, we'll come back around to it. I gotta move forward. Nyla Rose versus Athena's girl. This don't get it. This ain't do it for me. Especially compared to Tiffy Top versus Michin. I don't even know how you try to compare the two at all. But Willow Nightingale and Queen Aminata comes in pretty freaking close. Queen Aminata's tough, you know. She's tough, but she is not facing the best villain. Tiffany Stratton and Meechin, the whole shebang and bang, the promo, the execution, that gets it. That's what you're supposed to do. Nyla Rose beating up people her half her size. It don't matter if you're any type of. There's weight classes for a reason. I just. I feel like this all swings around to Athena fighting Nyla Rose and sticking up for her girls, or else they wouldn't be doing this. And it also gives Athena's like students some time to get in the ring, which she may or may not have promised inside of her package. But I don't see Athena losing her title. Unless she's already vacated it because she's going to a different promotion. If she's still in Ring of Honor, I don't see Athena being in Ring of Honor and not being the champion. Maybe this is all just like time for her to make a new pair of wings. And she's like, if you just give me like 2 months, I could just make the best pair of wings ever for a pay-per-view. And they're like, bet. Those wings are badass, bro. But still, Tiffany Stratton and me shouldn't get it. 4. Bear Mountain versus KM and Solo Cruz. I love the idea of solos, guys named Solo, being in tag teams or being in factions. And it was good to see KM. I haven't seen KM since I think the early days of Impact Wrestling. But I'm not sure if we talk about those days. Rampage ended with an 8-man tag match, which is matched up with Legado de Fantasma with Electria Lopez, La Madrina, and Pretty Empowered. Pretty Deadly, not Pretty Empowered, my bad. Dunn and Tyler Bate versus the LOO and the Cazadores. I don't know what they call themselves, but I'm going to call themselves the Cazadores. So I used to play Fallout New Vegas, and like the Cazadores were like the most deadly thing in the whole wasteland. Like I don't care what level I was. If a group of Cazadores got on me, I was done. I was done. this like 8-way, this 4-way tag match. I don't know, man. It was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Uh, Especially since like Rampage kind of did like the thing that I hate more than anything, and that's when you kind of just have four people standing on the ring doing nothing, or technically like six guys standing in the ring doing nothing, while two guys are in it, and then they fight on the ground for a bit. I hate that. I hate that shit. I hate that shit. This fucking 8-way tag match, it went every single which way. It built up so many different feuds. I totally see Pretty Deadly going right after Dud and Bait because they didn't get pinned. I don't believe so. I don't remember. I know that Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne won. I do not exactly remember who took the fall, but I do remember Legado de Fantasma and LOWO. They are not done. They are not done. And I'm seeing the best work out of the Latino world order that I've ever seen out of Wild and his partner, Del Cruz. Like, they just been putting up banger after banger after banger, man. Like, what do you say to that? More Nyla. She was yelling, I believe. She did things later, I think. And that's 5 for Ring of Honor. The 5th segment for SmackDown was Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce. A lot of tension. A lot of tension. With Bailey and the other 3 members of Damage Control. And you already know that this Bailey segment gets it, but man, what I wouldn't give to see Nyla Rose versus Nia Jax, or see Athena versus Rhea Ripley. What I wouldn't give. I wish this worked out a little bit differently. Because I would love to see Bailey versus Rhea Ripley. But I feel like Rhea Ripley would actually eat Bailey alive. I just feel like Rhea Ripley is on a completely different level. And she stays there. She absolutely just stays at that level. I feel like Bailey comes in fluxes, comes in doses, but I feel like if Bailey was going to be a champion, she would be better as a babyface standalone champion. She doesn't have to go back to being a hugger gimmick, but I would love to see a babyface Bailey in the near future. Rampage might have had more things. There's an Adam Cole thing, I think. Adam Cole and the Best Friends, and they did stuff, but that kind of sucked. I feel like the whole thing with the Undisputed Kingdom and the Young Bucks are they think that they're talented, so that makes them good, but I'm not sure if it works that way. I feel like other people have to think that you're good, and then you can feel validated through other people's recognition is how it usually works. And then sometime down the line, people that did not have any talent whatsoever began telling themselves that they were good, and just because they had a lot of confidence, they got the opportunities that people with real talent didn't get. I feel like that's more so what it is. And that's how I feel about that segment. So Bailey, yeah, Bailey. Let's go. Okay. Ring of Honor is wild because Taven and Bennett were actually on Ring of Honor and Rampage. Rampage, they just made an appearance, but they were just a part of that fifth segment that I was talking about that I kind of forgot. I don't remember where on the list that was. But Rampage just kind of came up a little short this time. Ring of Honor was freaking stacked. I'm not even halfway through Ring of Honor. I think I am about halfway through right now. So you had Tavian Bennett versus Rosser and Lawler. And you already knew that Rosser and Lawler were going to lose if you were watching New Japan Pro Wrestling. Oh, your boy started watching New Japan. And I know that Fred Rosser and Lawler have like this rivalry and they hate each other. And they just had like this really, really violent match not too long ago. And I saw it. I did. I watched it. And I don't remember what it was on, so there's no video for it, and there's not going to be any New Japan videos anytime soon because my schedule is already pretty packed with this. But I saw it, and I knew what was going on, and I was like, oh man, oh wow, like. Okay. All right. Okay, whatever. Fuck you guys. All right, whatever. Versus, damn. This is like when you get like a wrestling match, you look at the roster, it's like the first fucking seed. And the guy's been doing steroids since he's been like 13. I'm not referring to anyone specific inside of this match. I'm just saying, like, I just hyped up that whole thing right there. And I really liked David and Bennett. I really liked them in real life as well. But a 6-man tag between the Street Profits and the Final Testament with Bardot and B-Fab, yo, that was like majestic. That was like everything wrestling was supposed to be. What I'm noticing here is that Ring of Honor had like a lot of segments, but their segments didn't really match up compared to like just the straight up quality on WWE's part or the level of talent on Rampage. It just kind of like threw a lot at you, so you got, value and people got time in the ring. But that match between, I don't know, man, because the match between Taven and Bennett and Rosser and Lawler was honestly like a really textbook, like high level type of matchup compared to like the just utter chaos between the Street Profits, Bobby Lashley, the Final Testament. It's really difficult. I feel like Lashley has received telepathically the message I'm giving him, and I feel like Lashley has truly redeemed himself in every way, shape, or form. I truly believe it. But I just like, I don't know whether to rate this on the basis of how much I personally like a person versus how good the match actually was. Oh, wait. I already gave the point to Lashley and the Final Testament. Holy shit. That's crazy. I actually already gave them the point before any of that. That's wild. We're moving on now. Okay, Ethan Page versus Slim J with Cody Rhodes, and this is where we kind of like start to lap around here because we're on the 6th segment for Ring of Honor and we're almost done with SmackDown, and we would honestly be done with SmackDown if I didn't break this up into 2 different segments. I'll be honest with you. I might even break this down into 9 segments. Roman Reigns by himself, phenomenal. It was so good. It was so funny. It was just so, like, I didn't want to like him, but, like, he's just, like, what are you going to do about it, Like, he's dropped the, like, mafioso gimmick it seems like he's really being himself. And I think one of the most underrated things about Roman Reigns is that he's a really intellectual, really smart wrestler, really smart dude all around. And he kind of showed it there. Like he didn't even give like Heyman the mic or anything. Like he handled it himself. He just handled his business himself. Ethan Page versus Slim J. Ethan Page gave a pretty good promo about wanting to make his daughters and all that proud. And I think it would have been better for him if he just left that the fuck off of TV. And I'm not saying that because it's not compelling. You know, Heath Slater did it, and it was really endearing to Heath, but it also made things very difficult for Heath too, because everyone in there, a lot of people in there, I don't think not everyone, some guys sacrifice their entire life to be a professional wrestler. But a lot of people in there have families that they're not seeing, have like relatives that they don't get to like see, and it is a very compelling storyline. But it just goes back to like this ego thing. It's like you have something that you really care about, and you want to make it your character. And maybe I think Josh Alexander has actually done the same thing, so I can't even really like fault him or compare it. But I just feel like if we're not going to get on the level where we're all compelled and like compassionate by the idea that we have kids, then like you probably shouldn't have told anyone that you made this promise to your daughters. Because the same amount of people that will want to help you reach that goal are going to say, fuck them kids, you know? And I'm on the side of Ethan Page winning. I feel like Ethan Page should have already tapped into his Karate Man. I don't know why the hell. It's like only using like 10% of your brain is what he's doing. Like you have an entirely. He could kill. Like Ethan Page can literally kill people. He's that. Like as a striker, he's literally that talented. But he just refuses to use an entire skill set that he learned before professional wrestling, and it's really stupid. Slim J is himself, and Slim J is the dude, but I gotta like be real with you. Roman Reigns made a really good point. Like Ethan Page wrestles every single week. Slim J takes every match he's given, and it's like you have some guys that are like really desperate for the opportunity, and you have some guys that are the opportunity. And the simple fact that Roman Reigns is the opportunity gives the point to Ethan Page and Slim J. You know? Because like Roman Reigns was good. Like it was good. It was good. It was good. It really was good. But these guys were actually wrestling, and that's what we're here for. It's not World War promo. Is it? Is it? Is it? That's not. It's World War Wrestling. I have another writing utensil because I threw my other one. It's all right. Don't worry about me. Billy Starks and Killer Kate. Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes gets it. Because Cody Rhodes, while he was a little bit boring, had a wisdom. A deep wisdom. And that wisdom was the knife segment on Smackdown. The worst shit I've ever seen in my fucking life. The worst shit I've ever fucking seen in my life. The Rock came out there. He whispered some shit into Cody Rhodes' ear. And then he stared at Roman Reigns lovingly and affectionately. Like you do a cousin that you've been like competing with. And your parents have been comparing your fucking stats. And you two just want to get along. And you can't because everyone's just like fucking dividing the two of you. And it's like there's no need for it. It's just love, you know? So The Rock stared Roman Reigns lovingly in the eyes. Meanwhile, the righteous and the infantry are out here having the match of their life. The Rock is only out there for 3 minutes, and I think that's like total bullshit. So that point goes to the righteous and the infantry, even though the righteous did not pick it up. So this is where we're gonna swing back around because we're on match 10 for Ring of Honor. Smackdown's over now. Rampage is starting at this point in time. You know, Top Flight, Private Party versus Queen Aminata versus Rizzo Clark. I don't like the idea of using one black chick to get another black chick over, even if that black chick is Queen Aminata. Especially if Queen Aminata is gonna job out later on Rampage. It really just buried the girl that she just like beat because she's been losing every single match that she's had. Besides a match against another black chick, that's 2 points down. Because I think she did this also like either right before like 131, so like right before, like an hour before Black History Month, she's burying another black chick. And then a few days later, there's two black chicks burying each other with Willow Nightingale and Queen Aminata. I'm not for it. Private Party, Top Flight, same type of thing. And it's like, in a way, I feel it because you're giving spotlight to people that otherwise wouldn't have the spotlight. And it can't just be about racism. It can't just be about every time a black guy wrestles a white guy, the black guy wins. Because that would be racist, wouldn't it? That would just not be fair, would it not? If the black guy just had to be so much better than the white guy in order to win. You know, wouldn't that be, like, racist? Message. Okay. Top Flight versus Private Party. You didn't get your roses beforehand. So I compared two promos, but you're going to get your roses now. You at least beat that segment because you guys actually had a good match. They 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 had a scripted match, and that wasn't. It shouldn't look scripted. Gringo Loco versus Bad Dude Tito. This was the type of match where it didn't matter if it had a winner. And that's how it's supposed to be every single match. Is that both people are supposed to look so good by the end of this match. You don't really care who won because you just want to see him do it all over again. And that was this match by a mile, especially if the comparison is Big Bill, and Ricky Starks versus the Dark Order. I don't ever want to see the Dark Order in another match. I want everyone to just go in separate directions into the wind. I didn't like the gimmick when it first started. I don't like that Brody Lee is dead. And I feel like after Brody Lee died, it almost would have been better to kind of like let the gimmick go. Because it wasn't like he had spent this tremendous amount of time as Brody Lee, or that he even treated these guys very well as Brody Lee. I mean, he also had a very long career. They were probably all fans of his work as Luke Harper. But rest in peace, brother, for real. I gotta give it to Gringo Loco and Bad Dude Tito, man. A women's four-way corner match compared to Willow Nightingale versus Queen Aminata. This is the second time Queen Aminata has just kind of dropped the ball with this. And it's not that she's a bad wrestler, it's just that she's a jobber, and this is what you sadly have to do. Some people go jobbing, though, out of the country, so people don't see it. But I don't know. It has to be hard. It has to be very hard being a professional wrestler because it's like sometimes it's like being a barista. It's like some days you meet freaking celebrities and it's an awesome, amazing day because you got to take pictures with someone famous and they're super down to earth, humble people. And then sometimes you meet jackasses who don't give a fuck about you or nobody else and they have nothing in their life to justify the way that they treat people at all. It's almost as if they do it just to make other people feel small and feel like weak. Willow Nightingale and Queen Aminata had a really good match. Like, do not get me wrong, but I'm just saying that this women's for you had wives in there. You had former tag team like trios, like things going on there. I don't remember who the fourth person was. I remember Kiera Hogan, Red Velvet, and Diamante. I do not remember who the fourth woman was. I do remember, however, that Red Velvet won because I wrote it down. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have. So, I don't know. I think Willow Nightingale really kind of picks this one up for everybody. Because if Willow Nightingale was in this, like, if she was the fourth person there, she would have beat everybody. So Willow Nightingale versus Queen Aminata, they pick up the point that Queen Aminata dropped over there. Or should they really? I don't even remember the match with Willow Nightingale and Queen Aminata. Let me not even say that. I remember the Four Corners Women's match. And that's what it's all about. Are we going to be talking about you years from now, a month from now? And no for that one. So I'm going to bring the point back over there to Red Velvet picking it up, because she has a story to tell. She's lost a lot of time, and it's good to see her go back at it. Now, the Four Corners men's match. I do not remember every person inside of the match, but I do remember the match itself. But that going against the 8-man tag match, especially since I hated the way that they did the 8-man tag match, and especially since SmackDown did the 8-man tag match so well, the four-way match, the four-way 8-man tag, I got to give it to the Four Corners match. So let's tally this up real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points for Ring of Honor. And we'll put 1 point for that Four Corners match versus Aminata and Willow. I'll put it equals for that. We'll come back to that in case we need a tiebreaker. So we'll do 5 for Ring of Honor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for SmackDown. Oh. 1 for Rampage. So, honestly, man. Because the other thing here is that Rampage is actually owned by Ring of Honor. So even if I give, even like the breaker here is between the Four Corners women's match and the Willow Nightingale and Queen Aminata match. And Tony Khan, he booked both of them. So either way, that's still 2 points Tony Khan. Wow. So that's like I just feel like Tony Khan doesn't lose here. So I'm not gonna put this on Tony. I'm gonna put this on Thursday Night Wrestling, the backbone of Thursday Night Wrestling here. Ring of Honor and TNA, but I already did TNA versus Collision. All right, base Raw like off that. 6 points Ring of Honor, 5 points SmackDown, 1 point for Rampage. But if you throw that back, Top Flight versus Private Party with Dalton Castle and Johnny. Tony Khan still booked both of them. This is tight. This is tight. This is tight. All right, we're just going to do Friday versus Thursday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm about to give it to the 4 quarters women's match. Yeah. That makes it a tie, though. How about doing another tie? The point's going over to Will Nightingale and Queen Amanada. You know, the fact that Queen Amanada, just win or lose, she puts up the best fight she possibly can. Like, no matter what, Queen Amanada always puts up the best possible performance that she can. She always has so much poise and so much confidence, and she just holds herself in such a high light. Queen Amanada wins this. It's 5-7. Smackdown and Rampage win this, but they had to tag team up to do it. And then Smackdown cannibalizes Rampage. So ultimately, WWE just kind of pulled this by playing the two against the middle. But Tony Khan, if we're going based off of what Tony Khan runs, Tony Khan is 7-5 against whoever's writing SmackDown right now. So if we're going Friday night versus Thursday night, SmackDown and Rampage, I could probably leave off watching Ring of Honor until I watch Collision or something. I don't know. Or save it for a different day, whatever. But SmackDown versus, I don't know, because SmackDown and Rampage is not that long compared to SmackDown. I think we might run this back. And we might do Ring of Honor versus SmackDown. Just to see who really, really runs these streets. Because how's that? That Ring of Honor nearly knocked out 2 shows. And it's just the type of thing where if Ring of Honor would have just switched out a couple of these shows, just a few of these matches, or just switch the order around a little bit, you have Ring of Honor sweeping Rampage and SmackDown. It was just right there. It was right there. It was so hard. And it had to be a triple threat. And it had to be a super show. And it had to be World War Wrestling. Thank you for watching.